What is up, everybody? This is Caticus, and today I'm doing a kind of an introduction and a review of the OneXPlayer by, I don't know the company's name. It's a very long Chinese name, but this would be considered a, I don't know if I can say competitor to the Steam Deck, seeing as it's priced so much differently than the Steam Deck. But it serves a very similar function, and it has similar specs and does most of the same stuff, but of course a bit of a different design language here. So part of the differences are, you see there aren't, well, my phone keeps on trying to focus on my face. There aren't the touchpads down here. It's just these things down, like the joysticks and buttons and D-pad over here. And no touchpads. So that's a bit of a different design philosophy. Some other things set it apart. For example, the screen, instead of being an 800p screen like the Steam Deck, this one is, I think, 1600. It's like 2560 by 1600. I can't really remember. I wonder if it's on the box. No, it is not. Internally for this thing, you're looking at an AMD Ryzen 7 5700U, so it's a very competent CPU. I bought the 1 terabyte version. There is also a 2 terabyte version, but I didn't go for that. 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. I'm not sure what the megahertz of that is. I could probably run like CPU temp on it or something like that, or core temp on it, and figure that out. But yeah, that shows you what we're working with. I believe this one is comparable in specs to the Steam Deck. It might be a bit higher than the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck it says a custom Ryzen CPU, but I think it might be comparable to a 4800U, the Ryzen 4800U. But I mean, who can say for certain? Anyway, you probably want to know, see a little bit about the device. So let's have a look at it here. Sorry for the dirty screen. I did do my best to clean it off, but my best wasn't good enough because I don't have a microfiber cloth. But let's have a look at it. So buttons are good on here. A, B, X, Y, XY. They're all very good. Joysticks feel fantastic. They feel really good. They're responsive. They're clicky. The buttons on the device are all very high quality. Again, you'd expect that for something that costs $1,300 American. On the back of the device, we've got fans. Don't mind all the stickers. I bought a new motherboard and CPU recently from Asus, and it came with a bunch of stickers, and I didn't want to throw out a big thing of stickers, so I figured, what the heck? I put them all on my non-Asus gaming machine. But anyway, pretty clean design aside from the stickers. You've got a mute button, a volume up and volume down. You've got intake fans right here and outputs right here, so it sucks it in here and blows it out the top. There's quite good cooling on here, which is essential for something so small. You've got 2 USB-C ports on here. This one is for power. I don't know if it still connects as a data port, but it is the power port. There's the micro SD slot right there, USB-A right here, and of course that's 3.0. There's no Thunderbolt on the AMD version because Thunderbolt is an Intel technology, and the Intel i9 1100 something, or i7 1100K has Thunderbolt, so there is another version of this with an Intel chip, but not with the AMD one. So I went with the AMD one because I watched a review for it on Linus Tech Tips, and it seemed like it was really good. So yeah, you've got shoulder buttons right here. These are analog shoulder buttons right here. So they do measure how hard you're pressing it. Great for racing games and things like that. You've got the L2 and R2 right here. Nice subtle clicks, feels really good. And that's about it for I/O. Down here you've got some pins for an additional keyboard that you can plug in or sit it on top of, kind of like a keyboard dock sort of thing. It's not really a dock. And you'd sit it right there and you'd type on it. There is also a kickstand on it, which I quite like because it's very nicely made. It's very strong, and it can be turned like anywhere between closed and open to stand it up. Either stand it up like almost straight up or stand it back at an angle. So I quite like that, especially because I have cats running around my house and I want to leave this thing plugged in a lot and make sure, like for example, if I'm downloading games on Steam and they're super big, I will plug it in and leave it running so that it can download the game in the background, but I don't want like my cats to knock the thing over, so I find when it's fully extended, it's quite nice. This is also a very nice gaming position if you're to play it while it's sitting down, but I generally just play with it in my hands. It's quite heavy. It's 1.67 pounds or something like that. I can't remember. It's a heavy device. Most of that, of course, is battery. The battery is a 15,600 milliamp, I think. So basically like 3 phone batteries in here. And if you're playing a AAA game on medium to high settings and just like burning through the CPU, you're looking at about an hour and a half. From the reports that I've heard, the like playing back YouTube or something like that will last you about 8 hours. And then like indie games that are less graphically intensive will last about 6 hours. So your mileage may vary. Thankfully, it does come with a, let me just turn the camera over here. It does come with a 67 watt fast charger. That's this guy right here. And you plug it in on the top, which again, I like because if you're playing with it sitting down, then you can keep it plugged in. Let me just plug it in real quick here. Stick it in the top. All right. So, yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention the power button is on the back here. It is also a fingerprint reader, but on the AMD version, I don't think that there's like software to get it working properly. I'm not sure. You should be able to use that with Windows Hello. And yeah, but I haven't figured out a way. Hold on a second. I'm going to pause and put in my password. All right, so here you can see it is running at 2560 by 1600, so it's quite a high resolution for a handheld. Honestly, I have played, what is it, Mass Effect Legendary Edition at that resolution, and it's fine, but something like Cyberpunk, I wouldn't even want to try it. I'm running Cyberpunk 2077 at 1080p, and it runs quite nicely. Anything higher and it's much slower. If I run it at 800p, which is the native resolution of the Steam Deck, it runs flawlessly, just beautifully, great frame rate. But yeah, generally speaking, it's it's not really meant to be playing like, you know, QHD, Quad HD resolution games. I don't think, not AAA ones. But yeah, you can see that there. If I go down, let's see this display. Let's go down to about. So you can see I'm running an AMD Ryzen 7 57U with Radeon graphics. I don't know what the graphics card is, probably RDNA2 or RDNA2 or something like that. 16 gigs of RAM, not very specific about what RAM. I am currently running Windows 11 Home. I think I can upgrade to Pro because of my account or whatever, but Home has been fine for just playing games and stuff like that. I haven't really found that I need to do anything else other than that. Yeah, so what you're probably wondering though is, well, before we get into the games, let's have a quick look at the sound on here. So give me a second, I'll get something up and running. Actually, we can just do sound with games. Okay, so I've got a few games on here. Let's go to Steam. It's already running. Go to my library. So I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077. I've got Divinity Original Sin 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, Mass Effect, No Man's Sky, and Project Zomboid. So a pretty decent selection. Let's start with the hardest one to run, the worst running one, which, and when I say worst running, it's subjective, right? So we're going to run Cyberpunk. It'll be running at 1080p. And I'm going to let this video record the whole loading process so you can see about how long or how quick this thing loads. It is running an NVMe drive, a 1 terabyte NVMe drive, so load times are better than expected. Let's give it a shot here. The gamepad is instantly recognized right away because it's completely compatible with Steam. So it just runs like a, let me just get the game loading. It just runs like an Xbox controller. It just loads up like an Xbox controller. It's quite good. No issues with getting games to recognize it or anything. Let's turn up the volume. Okay. You can hear the speakers, they're quite good. They're stereo, of course, and they're front facing, which is quite nice. Okay, so we're gonna load up a game here. Great colors on the screen. All right, starting the loading now.
Hey everyone, feels great to have you back. So then, did you all hear about that Arasaka aircraft carrier docked in Night City called Kujira, or the Whale? Apparently the Corp figured it wasn't safe in Japanese waters. Afraid some
Turn it down a
local
bit here.
fishermen might...
So you can see the loading times really aren't bad. Okay, so here we are running at 1080p. The frame rate, in my opinion, is not bad. Now, I'm kind of an older gamer, so I remember when things were a lot worse, like when, I don't know, like PS1 days where the frame rate was like, what's frame rate? A lot of games were released in terrible quality with terrible frame rate. So I can put up with probably lower frame rate than some people might, expect. They might be pissed off if they're getting sub 20s. Me, I find anything playable as long as it looks all right and it, in my opinion, runs all right, feels all right. Let's call my car and go for a drive here. Hello, car. Come to me, please. There we go. I'll try to render this video in as high frame rate as possible so that you can see it comparative to the game's graphics or the game's performance. And just make sure I don't get a copyright strike here. Should be okay now. Okay, we're going to turn it up a bit so you can hear the sound. Oops. Okay. That was funny.
Hey, wait!
Hey, it's for horses. And I'm not a waiter. Alright, so there's the performance at 1080p. Let's give it a shot turning it down to 800, just like the Steam Deck. The settings here. There we go. Okay. Very smooth. Yeah, performance is very good. Get out of the car, get out on foot. So it runs better, as you can see. There's a higher frame rate. But honestly, to my brain, the game runs at the same speed. It's a lower frame rate with a higher resolution, but things are still happening at the same time. So I can I don't know, my brain can fill in the blanks or whatever, it doesn't trouble me so much to play it in a slightly reduced frame rate, because in my opinion, it looks a lot better at 1080p. As for the other settings, there's the sky. As for the other settings, let's have a quick look here. You can have a look at what I've got my graphics settings set to. Okay, so we've got a mixture of low and medium. I mean, I could even turn anisotropy down. But you can see it's really almost 50-50 mixture of low and medium settings for Cyberpunk 2077. And Cyberpunk 2077 is probably one of the most edge case games to run on a handheld PC right now, being like its requirements are so high. Look at that. It's just so smooth. Wow. You can see the screen's colors are really good on this device, on the OneXPlayer. It's got a beautiful screen. It's an 8.7 inch, I think, or 8.4. It's just shy of a 9-inch screen, which makes it quite, it looks great. Again, that's compared to the Valve, which is a bit smaller at just under 7 inches. So you're looking at about that big. So it kind of gives you perspective on how large this device is, because the Steam Deck with the screen about that large is going to be a lot smaller, whereas this one, the entire device around it is a lot larger as well. It's definitely not something you're sticking in your pocket unless you have gigantic pockets. One nice little thing is when I ordered it, it also came with this case for free, which is quite nice. A hard carrying case with a nice, soft, cushy inside to store the device, carry it around. Cool. Anyway, I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to start up another game. I'm going to try out maybe Mass Effect and show you what it looks like, okay? Before we get to the next game, I'm going to do a real quick few videos here because I also have, did I just close it? Yeah, I also have core temp running on here to give you a view of how the temperatures get when it's doing different tasks and to show you what the CPU utilization is like. Right now you can see it's alternating between basically 3.6 and 1.6 gigahertz, depending on whatever's running in the background. So let's have a quick skip between a few videos on YouTube. I won't stay too long on any one video so that I don't get copyright striked for copying people's videos. But here you can see it's hardly using anything. The CPU is running at about 52 degrees, so it seems to be handling YouTube just fine. Let's click on a few of these. Still running YouTube without any thermal issues whatsoever. This thing can get hot because it is a handheld. It's squishing a laptop CPU inside of a little handheld. I don't think any handheld is going to be truly perfect when it comes to this. Click on another one here. You can see that it's not using much of any of the CPUs. Again, it's still alternating between 3.6 and, even 4.3. So it does jump into the 4s for gigahertz. Temperature right now is 46 degrees. You can hear the cooling on it. Well, it just turned off. Apparently it's cool enough. They can get, pretty loud if you stick a microphone right up to it. But the speakers are loud enough that you're not going to be like, oh God, those fans. They're not so loud that they're distracting. But at the same time, they're not so quiet that you'd be sitting beside your significant other in bed gaming without her possibly waking up and saying, turn it off. It's too late. But it's not bad. You can hear them right now. And let's put them to the true test. Let's turn on another game here. Let's turn off this. All right. Go back into here and here, and we're gonna go to. Let's do a Divinity Original Sin. I forgot to show you. I was running Cyberpunk in what is it? Full screen, and there's a button right here to go back to desktop from whatever you're at. Just click it, and you go back to it. And I forgot to show you how, like, when you are in a game in full screen, you click the desktop button, it immediately minimizes. But then when you click on the game again, it restores immediately. Like my desktop PC, which has a far more powerful Intel CPU, doesn't even hold a candle to the way this thing full screens and minimizes and full screens again. That one takes like a good 2 seconds to think about what it's doing when it's switching from full screen to desktop. But this thing is just so rapid. Let's start it up. Again, we're going to have a look at the load times here. I won't pause it. If you find it's boring, just skip a little bit ahead. But I want to show you how well things load on here, largely thanks to a decent CPU and an excellent NVMe drive. Let's click play. You can unmute it again. Divinity Original Sin is quite an arduous or quite a large game to load due to the world and whatnot. Okay, we're going to press A to start here, and we're going to go to continue. Okay. But yeah, it's loading the whole world and all the elements and all the things that you've done in it, and everything is persistent. Everything you do in the world is persistent. So it has to load all of that each time you load up the game. So it's quite a heavy load on the CPU. Therefore, it takes a bit more time to load than a lot of games. I would skip it, what we've already gotten so far. We're in this together now. We'll see it through to the end. Almost there, I swear. Oh, so close. Alright, loading bar is done. There we go. Alright, so you can see the performance here. Everything runs nice. Now it'll sound a little low, like the volume will sound a little low right now, because I believe in my settings I have the sound turned down. Let's find out. Yeah, master volume is down. There you go. Now you can hear it a bit better. Let's discard those changes. Yeah, so everything runs nicely. If I go back out to the world, I think should be able to do that. Let's find out here. Where's the waypoint shrine? Well, hold on, I gotta figure this out, how to get out of here. Okay, I'm not used to playing it on playing this game on here. I'm used to playing it on my main PC, so I had to figure out how to do this. To show you again the fantastic load times in this game or on this device. If I go to a waypoint here and go to an entirely different area in the game, just like that, load it in. How about somewhere else? Let's go to the Hall of Echoes. It pretty much instantly loads new environments. If we take a look at the video options here. Have a look what we're running. Okay, so this is 1020p. Settings, quality presets are on medium, so everything's running at medium, and I've got some things off, like ambient occlusion, which doesn't really matter from my perspective. Depth of field, God rays are on. Yeah, I haven't sacrificed much, and the performance is really good. Now, if I were to turn the resolution up to the native resolution, there we go, 2560 by 1680. There we go. This is the native resolution of the device itself, and it's still running really well. Although this is a smaller environment. Let's go to the city. It's much larger. Alright, so it's still running really well. This is at the native 2560 by 1600. It's still extremely playable. I'm not sure how you feel about this, but I feel like it's definitely okay. I'll take it. Yeah, so that's Divinity Original Sin 2. Let's have a look at the next one. Oh, right, I forgot. I'm going to show you how quickly it goes from full screen to desktop and back again. Just instantly. It's quite awesome. But yeah, let's have a look at the next game. Okay, so we're going to try out GTA 5 at 2560 by 1600. And everything is basically on high or very high or normal. But yeah, let's give it a try here. Let's go back. And I will spare you the loading screens. Let's start loading right now. Give it a sec, I'll unpause the video.
Your son, James. He's a good kid.
He's a good kid?
Let's just skip that.
Come on. Shit, come on. Damn, this nigga must got the baby dick. Yeah.
Okay, the dialogue's probably gonna get my video flagged, but whatever.
Dad, which one you
Damn.
want, nigga? Like
Okay.
that? Bobby fixed it.
All right. As you can see, it runs absolutely beautifully. Well, GTA 5, let me just turn this down a little bit. Well, GTA 5 is a lot older of a game. I believe there have been considerable graphical updates over the years, so it still looks really good. And even though it's, you know, graphically enhanced over what it used to be, it's still running absolutely wonderfully. Yeah, I'm gonna fail this mission, but that's okay. It's just a show. So yeah, there's GTA 5. Let's try some Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Alright, so here's Mass Effect 1 running. I'm currently playing through this game again for my first time in like over a decade. Everything's running nicely. Looks really good. Yeah. Yeah, frame rate is really good. Graphics settings right now are, let's have a look here, running at 1920 by 1080p. And the settings are all, like, nothing's disabled for the settings. It's all, I guess, as good as it can be, or like best settings. I can try turning up the resolution to full. Let's give this a shot here. Yes. Definitely a hit to the frame rate, but it's not bad actually. Actually, it's really not bad. Yeah, that's certainly playable. Wow. First time I started up the game, I figured it would probably run smoother at 1080p, so I immediately set it to that. But starting to think I didn't need to. You can see it be a little choppy, but it's, like I said, definitely playable at full resolution. Okay, we're going to try one more. We're going to try, what was it? No Man's Sky. Give me a sec here. Pause the video. Unpause it real quick here to have a look at the loading screen. You can see the beautiful colors on the screen, and you can hear the wonderful sound. It presents good bass, like a decent low, mid, and high. So it's quite acceptable for a little handheld device like this. Anyway, I'm going to pause it again so that we can get into the game. Alright, so here we are on a hot planet. Running around. View distance is good. A lot of mountains around so you can't really see. But the frame rate is passable. Let's jump in the ship here. And let's take off. Can I take off? I'm not sure how to, suddenly. Oops, let's take it out. Maybe I'm hold R1 to take off. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oops, too high to initiate landing. Let's get into space here. Here we are. It's my first time playing it on here, so I'm not super familiar with the controls. Yeah, it all runs quite nicely. I think this one's currently running at 1080p, and I think I did that because I did see that it ran considerably worse at 2560, 1600. Alright, so let's have a look at the thermals while this game's running. Core temp is here. So with the game running, we're running at 63 degrees. So when it does get going, it does ramp up, definitely. Like the fans definitely ramp up, which causes the temperatures to... Well, the CPU becomes more active, so the temperatures go up. But the fans do a really good job moderating the heat gain, and I haven't seen things hit 80 yet. I'm sure it's possible on this small little thing, but I haven't seen it hit 80. I think I've seen mid-70s, and that's about it, and that was running Cyberpunk. So yeah, it handles thermals really well. Anyway, I think that about sums up everything you need to know about the OneXPlayer. Materials feel great. It's kind of like a satin finish plastic, a soft feeling plastic. Of course it's not soft plastic, but the texture is nice and soft. Feels really good in the hands. Definitely a high quality build. The screen, as you can see, is fantastic. It looks really good. Great colors, great color variants. I'm not sure whether it's 8-bit or 10-bit, but it does look really good. Sound is great on here. I've heard, like I saw another reviewer say that there's an application that you can get and put on here called FX Sound. I have it on my main PC, and it did a really good job of amplifying the sounds and making the lows sound better and whatnot. And he said that it's really good on here. So I'm going to give that a try soon to see if it really does make a difference. You know what? I'm just going to pause this and download it and try it out. Okay. Wow, okay, this is with FX Sound, running that application FX Sound, and yep, you can definitely hear a difference. Holy smokes. Now, you know what I didn't mention yet is the vibration motors in here are really good. When you're accelerating and whatnot, they can be quite like accelerating a car, and you can feel the hum of the engine. It's quite subtle, and then you crash into a wall, and it's a good shock. The vibration motors in here are great. They feel tight and smooth and have a good variance between heavy and light. So yeah, good vibration in here. Good vibration. Okay, we're gonna have a listen to the sound here. That is so much louder. Holy smokes. Wow. Holy tamale. Okay, yeah, so if you do happen to get one of these, or a Steam Deck, or any handheld PC, like gaming PC, I highly recommend that application, FX Sound. Let me show you real quickly where I got it from. Just fxsound.com. FX Sound. Holy smokes. I have it on my main PC in my living room, and it made a big difference because I've got my PC running through my TV. And it was instantly so much nicer sounding, but I wasn't expecting it to be such a difference on here. So yeah, very cool. Anyway, that's gonna wrap up the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it gave you some perspective on an alternative to the Steam Deck, seeing as the Steam Deck is pretty much unbuyable right now. I got this a bit before the Steam Deck came out, probably 2 weeks ago. Or 3 weeks ago, I'm not exactly sure. It wasn't very long ago, and I got it because I saw a review. I saw the no thanks. I saw the Linus Tech Tips video for it, review for it on YouTube, and I was blown away by it. It looked really good, and I wanted it instantly, so I ordered it right away, and I'm very happy with it. It's fantastic. It comes in a really nice box. It comes with the charger and that big case to carry it in. The box looks like this. Let me just hold it the right way. The box looks like this. Doesn't have a lot in the box, just the machine and the charger and an instruction booklet, basically. There it is. And the inside looks like... Oh, come on. Open. It's quite hard to open. Holy smokes. Holding on for dear life. Alright, the inside looks like this. Just a nice cutout for the device and the spot for the charger, and then a little instruction book right here. And that's it. That's all it came with. But yeah, absolutely recommend this if you've got the cash to blow on a handheld device and you're looking for something, an alternative to the Steam Deck or something comparable or something that, I mean, I feel like spec-wise this might even be, it is better in some ways and maybe not so much in others. It really depends on your desired configuration. If you want those thumb pads for touchpad and you don't mind having a lower resolution screen, then the Steam Deck is definitely something worth waiting for. I think the Steam Deck only comes in up to 512 gigabytes. This one comes in 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte models. I feel like a terabyte is more than enough. You only want to have like 4 or 5 games on it at a time. And if a game is like, well, I mean, maybe you'll have more, but we're talking 100 gigabyte games. On a 1 terabyte model, you've got about, 200 gigabytes for Windows 11, which is what I have on here now. And I mean, you can put a lot of indie games on there. There's absolutely some smaller games on here, but there are also some larger ones too. Some of them cap 100 gigabytes easily. So it really depends on your gaming habits. But you can have 5 or 6 really big games on here at any one time, or you can have dozens of smaller games. It's really up to you. I have seen it mentioned as an emulation machine. I mean, wow, that's a lot of money to spend on an emulation machine for emulating like PS3 and stuff like that. Absolutely can. I don't own a PS3 or any PS3 games, so I can't exactly run them legally. And honestly, I'm not as into emulation as I used to try to be. I don't know. I only want to play newer games or PC games mostly. So I don't try to go for emulation as much anymore. But I can understand how someone might have interest in that, and apparently it's quite a good emulator, largely because of the gigantic screen, the wonderful controls, and the super amped up CPU for running pretty much anything under the sun really well. So that's going to wrap up my review for today. I'm very grateful that you watched it. If you have any comments, just write them down below. If there's anything else you'd like to know, go ahead and ask. And in the meantime, that's it for me, so I will see you guys next time. This is Caticus, out.